you've got to have people that are open to it. Americans love statistics.
Sunil, thank you very much for your time. We're here at the Sports Analytics Conference talking about soccer and the future of analytics. So, in your position, what is the role of analytics in soccer?
Well, obviously there's two broad uses. One is on the soccer side and the sports side, and then the other is obviously on the business side. Here we're talking mostly about the use in sports on the field and analyze what's going on, how you can take advantage of that looking forward. And that goes across any number of spheres, the technical part of the game, the nutritional part of the game, the strategic part of the game. And what you're seeing over time is more and more use of that in the sport. Not as easy in some other sports, but it's happening.
So tell me some of the barriers that people have to go through in order to truly adopt analytics inside the soccer game. Here I'm not talking about the business side, but I'm talking about team and maybe player performance.
Well, the first is you've got to have people that are open to it. And if you don't have that, whether it's a coach or a general manager, it's not going to happen. Then you've got to have some way of monitoring what's happening on the field, whether that's technical, whether that's human eye or whatever else it is, and then some way to analyze that data and make the best use of it. So some of the other barriers in soccer is it's a continuous game, so it's a little bit harder to measure things. You don't have a box score at the end of a game, which gives you lots of usable data. So you've got to find ways to do that in the continuous flow of a game. Generally, that's involving video and analyzing and cataloging, but I think you'll see that happen more often now as the technology becomes better.
So this is very similar to what you might be experiencing in your business. One, there's the issue around collection, and sometimes either manual or using some sophistication in technology. But beyond that, it is the culture of the club and having somebody that is willing to start using the analytics. Is there a club or a team that you think is an example? It doesn't have to be in the US, maybe it's an international club where you think, I've seen a great use of analytics there.
I think there's probably a number of clubs that do that. The one that I'm quite familiar with is what Chelsea's been doing. A guy named Mike Ford oversees that part of it, along with some other things on the player development side. Long term, you've got to see what the results that come out of that. I mean, we're all, sort of familiar with the Moneyball approach. Yeah. But in soccer, I think it's going to be a little bit different. Mike is at kind of the cutting edge, puts together a conference as well in London that looks at this stuff. So I think he'd be the one I'd point out in that general space.
And so when you think about analytics as being a part for soccer to be better known by the American public, what are some of the other things that need to happen for soccer to become as a great sport, just like basketball or baseball in America?
We're getting there, and at a participatory level, it's already there. Millions of kids playing. Turning it into a greater spectator sport is happening, but it's happening slowly. Major League Soccer has been great in helping us do that. The national team success has been very important. So I think those are pieces of the puzzle. The role that analytics might play, which can generate more meaningful statistics in a game that has continuous action, I think Americans love statistics, and whether it's fantasy football or any of those other sports, I think that can help bridge a little bit of a gap with the traditional American psyche and a game that doesn't produce those statistics naturally, right? It's a great tackle or it's a great shot, but not necessarily a goal. It's those instances that bring you to the edge of your seat, and there's plenty of those in soccer. How do you measure those? That's a little trickier.
And this is certainly something that our audience can see as an example inside their business, this idea of measuring the activities, not just focusing on the outcomes by themselves.
No, I think that's exactly right, and we're seeing a lot more of that now in the sport.
Great. Well, thank you very much for your time, Sunil. Where do people go if they want to find out more about your work?
Well, I think you go to www.ussoccer.com, and that's got updates on the Federation and what we're doing and our national team programs and other programs.
Great. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Until next time, I'm Bruno Aziza.